Right, lads, welcome to the first Pipecast with your hosts Harry and Dion. So what we thought we'd talk about today is the year that we've had smoking the pipe, because we've both been now smoking the pipe roughly about a year.
What a year!
Yeah,
what
a year it's been.
Wow. It's been a year.
So we just thought we'd talk about our first experiences with it and also the things that we've learned over the last year that we would tell ourselves as newcomers.
Yeah, we go back in time to our virgin selves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I first picked up a pipe on Father's Day of 2021, June 19th, and it was because sort of at the time I'd been buying a cigar maybe once every few months and spending quite a bit of money on them for what they were, I thought. But whenever I fancied like a little backy craving, but it was coming
and they're good.
Yeah,
they're kind of good in their own way, but
they are for sure. Yeah. But it's coming to Father's Day, and I was doing a reread of Lord of the Rings, which I do every now and then, and they're talking about they're smoking their pipe, and I just thought, that sounds good, and it's such a traditional Father's Day gift. So I said, I'm gonna have a pipe. So I ended up going on GQ Tobaccos, and they had these clay pipes for £5 a pop, which I thought was great, as like a little starting thing. I didn't know about corn cobs at the time.
Yeah.
And then I thought, well, I need some tobacco, and I looked through the selection of tobacco, and I saw Balkan mixture, and I just thought, Balkan,
based.
Yeah, it sounds orthodox. So I tried that, and I was just really impressed with the smoke from the get-go, from the first light up. I think it was helped by the fact that it was a clay pipe, and clay is really cool and sweet.
It's super traditional.
And very traditional.
That would have been ours, wouldn't it? Like
for sure.
Back in the day.
Like proper kind of like sailor pipe.
Yeah.
And it was great. So, and then I was smoking on the weekends, and then that slowly crept into like a bowl a night.
That didn't last long.
So that was my first experience. What about you, man?
So maybe a little bit later. Would it have been for my birthday?
I think it was Christmas.
It was Christmas, yeah. So you said, I'd seen you pulling up to church with a based pipe hanging out in your mouth. Oh man, he looks such a chad. And he said, do you fancy one? Like, I mean, I got some cigars. In fact, we'd had a cigar. I got some cigars back from Cuba a couple of years ago. Yeah, man, some Cohibas, some full Coronas that we'd had with a bit of port one Christmas. On one of the days where we were allowed to drink wine.
Yeah.
And so it was totally kosher. And so we'd had a cigar, and he said, these are great. And then when I seen you hanging out, with a pipe out of your mouth, oh man, it looks so good. It looks so good. So he said, well, look, next time I'm ordering, I'll get you one in. I'm like, all right, okay. So he said, and you've done a bit of research up at that point. You moved from the clay to the cob, and he said, look, don't let the price put you off, because I can be a bit snobby sometimes. I'm not too proud to admit it. It's rubbish. but I think, £8 for a pipe, it can't be that good. Like, no, look, these are great. Like, they smoke great out of the box. You'll get it packed. You can't really go wrong. You'll get better as you go along. But come round to mine, and I'll get you started. You got me some. It was Gareth and Hogarth, Squadron Leader. Yeah, man, such a good smoke. And away we went. So I came round, and away we went. So that was kind of the first foray into the pipe. And then I'd been on the Orthodox Pipe and Pipe pub on Facebook, and they were like, oh great, I've got loads of advice for you. Here's some stuff that we'll send you. They sent me loads of videos, and Ellis that runs that. Ellis Spear, who runs that channel, was really good with it, and he said, look, I'll send you some stuff. Yeah. But get yourself a briar, even if it's a cheap one. And I thought, well, I've got Christmas, I've got some birthday money, I'll get myself a pipe. So that was my first briar. So that's Peterson Aaron, bent apple, and I loved it. But it was it was a new experience amongst new experiences. But yeah, soon took to it. You know, like packing and getting things wrong. You know, lighting with old lighters and stuff, and you know, and eventually kind of, you know, really found my feet. But yeah, it was, and then from there, kind of started expanding the pipe range.
Yeah, so cool. So I like a lot of stuff that we both just said, kind of like sparked some things that I would say about. Should we talk about buying the first pipe?
Let's.
Yeah, because obviously that's the first thing.
Yeah.
I kind of went into it not really doing a lot of research about it. Yeah, luckily, same. I went straight to an online tobacconist. I know a lot of people end up going to Amazon, end up going to eBay. I would say avoid it.
Yeah.
Because
trust the experts, man.
For sure, trust the experts. And especially on Amazon and eBay, you can end up buying like these pipes from China that are made up from sometimes toxic materials that you don't want to be putting a flame anywhere near. Yeah. So go to an online tobacconist.
And these guys, they live and die by their rep.
Exactly.
You know, they've because it's a small niche community. You know, if they start putting out poor, substandard quality stuff, it's not going to look good for them. They want you to come back to them, and they want you to go to your friends in the pipe community and say, I got a good deal and good advice from these guys.
Yeah. And what would you say start with a cob, start with a briar?
I hear guys who say like don't mess about with the cob, just go straight for the briar. But I'm pleased I did.
Yeah.
I'm pleased I've got a cob because I do still smoke it. We call it the side piece. The side
it's the good time girl.
It's the good time girl. Yeah. You can always go back to her. She's always there waiting for you. Like she's like, oh, thanks for smoking me again. Good to see you.
Yeah.
You know,
low maintenance.
Just
a good time.
Totally, man. And I do still kind of come back to it. But go get your chops up with a cob and get yourself a briar. I think would be my advice.
Yeah, I think I would agree. Because there are a lot of lessons that you can learn with the cob that will translate to the briar.
Yeah.
Without paying for a lot of the mistakes, because
for sure.
You can. I find that the cobs are a lot more forgiving with the packing for sure. But you can still pack a cob poorly. However, you will not get the same tongue bite that you would get from packing a briar poorly. So, I think I agree. I think cobs are the way to go, especially because they're so cheap as well. So if you feel that it's not for you after getting you can spend £5 on a cob, get a few samples. Maybe you've spent 20 quid, and if it's not for you, then it's 20 quid. Then, give the tobacco away. Yeah. So, and
you can put it aside. If you want to come back to it, it'll not. It's not going to rot. It'll stay there. It'll be good to smoke. The next time you pick it up.
I will say though, jar it. Make sure you jar it because I have let tobacco go dry and it goes stale. Real. You can rehydrate it, by the way. Damp coffee filter in the jar with it. That'll do it. But so moving on to a briar.
Yeah.
You've bought a cob.
Yeah.
You like to smoke a pipe. Yeah. You're gonna get a briar.
Yeah.
Make sure, I would say, that you're buying from a reputable pipe maker.
Kind of even more so.
Definitely
with a briar, because not only can you kind of go for substandard, sub-quality stuff, but there's kind of grades of quality even with briar.
Oh, for sure, yeah. Yeah. But the thing is, you don't have to spend a lot on a briar to have a good pipe.
No, you don't.
I mean, I remember going on and on about this pipe that I got from GQ.
Yeah.
It's the GQ's line, from their line, which I think, no one's, it's not confirmed, but I think they're like Parker.
Yeah.
They're from the Parker factory.
They've got a good rep, haven't they?
They've got a very good rep. And dude, I spent 20 quid, I think 22 quid on this pipe. This little rusticated billiard, and it smokes like a dream. 22 quid. And so you don't have to pay a lot for a briar.
No.
But some good names: Peterson, Savinelli, Chacon, Blakemore, English maker. Yeah. You've got one. I don't have one, but these are all Savinellis. I kind of went on a Savinelli binge earlier in the day. That's the other thing. Dion managed to, exercise, some self-restraint
For once in my life.
and behave like a human being. And he's got 3 pipes, well, 4, including the Savinelli that has a church warden. Yeah. I kind of went off the deep end, so that's there's 6 Savinellis there plus this one. I got a few more in storage.
Plus the Falcons.
Yeah, and their balls. But partly the reason for that is because early on in the game, I got convinced that ghosting was a huge issue. So ghosting, if you don't know, is when a tobacco leaves a flavour in a bowl that lingers and you taste it in the next bowl. Personally, I mean, what do you think? Have you found ghosting to be a huge issue?
No. Again, this is maybe something to kind of that I would tell myself starting up. Don't worry too much about that.
Yeah.
So how I tackled it, I'd got a recommendation from my granddad, which is always a good recommendation for pipes, because like the old guys, they all know good backies, they all know good pipes, they know the Petersons, they know Blakemore, they know the good names. And he said, "Oh, have you got? Has it got some Condor?" I said, "No." I said, I haven't." I want to get send some Condor.
Yeah.
So
proper old lad blend.
Old lad blend. Yeah. Them in St Bernard.
St
Bruno.
Yeah.
So picked some up, and then and on the trigger warning, like a ghost warning, you will get ghosted with this backy. It said, "Look, this is a ghoster. It's a strong backy, strong flavour, lovely smoker, but has got a tendency to ghost." So at that point, I thought, well, I'm going to pick myself up a Falcon anyway. I want to pick myself up a specific bowl to burn. I'm going to keep that just for Condor. But do you know what? I've smoked it in other stuff.
Yeah.
You ream it back, because it just goes into the coke,
right,
into the cake.
Yeah.
You cut that cake back, you're good to go. And I've got a pauper's palate anyway, so so it doesn't affect me too madly. But and yeah, it can be a thing, but it's not been a thing in my experience that has really tainted my pipes.
Same. I would agree with that. And the point that I was trying to make is that people are like, "Oh, you need to buy a pipe that you smoke Latakia in."
That's it. And you get hung up about it.
Yeah. And you need to buy a pipe that you smoke Perique in. You need to buy a pipe that you smoke this and that in. And I got really hung up on it. It's like, "Oh no, I don't want to taste Latakia in my Perique." But here's what I found. Latakia doesn't really ghost. I'll fight you on that.
No.
Perique doesn't really ghost. Burley-based aromatics, thinking about like rum flake, don't ghost. What ghosts are American-style aromatics. Yeah. Like your American black cherries and vanillas and stuff. They ghost. Also, the Lakelands ghost. That's a fact.
Topping, man.
Yeah. Ennerdale, Bosun, Flake, Coniston, that will ghost, dude. Geranium, dude. They will ghost, and if you want to get a separate pipe for them, I think that's probably sensible. But I think, your straight Virginias, Burleys, even Burley-based aromatics, Perique, Latakia, English or Balkan blends, they can go in the same pipe. Yeah. For me, dude. But if you are concerned about it, we brought it up a couple of times now. The Falcon. We should talk about the Falcon.
You can't beat it.
I don't have mine, but sure.
Yeah, let's take the bad boy out. So similar to a briar as you would normally. You got your stem, you've got your mouthpiece. But this is aluminium. Aluminium or steel? Aluminium. And the bowls are detachable, which is great because you can get different shapes. I mean, I've got a couple of shapes here. This one's a billiard. This one's a bulldog. I'm going to show those up a little bit easier. Nice wood, reasonably nicely turned. Not a lot of money really for what they are.
Like 17 quid for those hunter bowls.
Yeah, probably 20 for a stem.
I think you would have paid a bit more for that because it's one of the cool shillelagh spiral stems. Yeah. I paid about 16 quid for my straight and bent stems, just the standard.
But these are great. I mean, these work slightly differently in the sense of how they smoke. But I mean, how you would smoke them is exactly the same.
Yeah.
You pack it, you light it, and away you go. But the beauty about these is that you can, if you've got a backy blend that's really strong, that you know is a ghoster, get yourself a bowl. Get yourself a bowl for it, and away you go. Separate bowl, and you haven't got to take a whole set of pipes out with you.
Exactly.
You know? Switch your bowl over, no problem. And the beauty about these is that they've got like a little ring.
That
inside.
dry ring.
The dry ring, man. That's so good. In this little humidome. Yeah. So it captures all the gunk, all the goo, all the dottle that all just sinks to the bottom, soaks into that ring there. So what's left coming up that bronze stem there, it's dry, it's cool.
It's fantastic.
It's a lovely smoke.
And
so easy.
Very forgiving, yeah. And back to what we were just talking about beginner pipes. Back to what I was saying, and I said it in my video that I did on Falcons is excellent beginner pipe.
Yeah,
it's going to run you a bit more money than a cob. Well, it's going to run you a bit more money than a cob.
Yeah.
But the experience that it will give you as a beginner, very forgiving, easy to pack, cool and dry, flavorful. And what I love about it is no wastage as well. Wow. Smokes the leaf right down to the bottom. Yeah. Because man, I hate that. Call me tight, man, but I hate to throw away that little plug of tobacco at the bottom.
Yeah.
Now my packing has got better to the point where I've reduced that right down, I would say.
Yeah.
Let's talk about packing.
Packing's a big one, and I was pretty bad at it. I don't mind telling you. Me too. I was pretty rough. So you kind of gone through the was it the father wife son method?
Yeah, father mother child.
Yeah, and that was okay, and I'd had a go, but I didn't really get it. So I got on Mutton Chop Piper, who was sort of talking about the kind of weight, and that was quite helpful to work out. To just, you want like a marshmallow type weight on the top for your first pack. So get plenty in, but pack it very loose. Next one you want a little bit tighter, but not as much. And then same again for the top, much tighter, but not very much in there at the top to get that coal at the top.
Yeah.
And I was crap. It didn't work. I couldn't get it. So David Grain is one of the Irish guys who works for Peterson or sells Peterson pipes. He's got his own channel on YouTube and does a swirl method.
Yeah.
So I experimented with that for a little while. The
guy with the great accent.
The guy with the great Irish accent. Yeah, lovely guy, great guy, and he's all about that video was just all about packing and lighting. It was great. So I experimented. I had a go, but really, I kind of wore I wasn't a great packer to start with, and it affected my experience. I was getting quite hot.
Yeah.
I was having to really draw it. So that was an issue that I found to start with. But honestly, how would you tackle that? Just keep going.
Yeah.
Don't worry if you're not much good. You'll get better. Watch the good guys do it, and eventually it becomes keep at it, and eventually it becomes second nature.
Yeah, I would say exactly that. I think because I remember when I first bought tobaccos, I was buying ribbon cuts.
Yeah.
Because when I looked at Flake and when I looked at especially Twist and Plug, I was intimidated by it. I was like, what is this? It looks like like elven technology. Or something. So I was buying ribbon cut, and I found the father mother child method, which is basically fill the bowl and pack and compress it with the strength of a child, so very lightly. Then you'll fill the bowl to the top again, and then you compact it with the strength of the mother, a little bit stronger. Fill the bowl again, compact it with the strength of the dad, a bit more pressure. And I found that with ribbon cuts that sort of worked well.
Yeah.
But when I was moving on to flakes, and I discovered the beauty of the flake, the cooler burning, and the slower burning. It doesn't really work as well because obviously you rub a flake out generally before you pack it.
We'll talk rubbing in a minute.
Right, yeah. But it doesn't quite rub down to ribbon cut. It rubs down
There is still a difference.
Yeah. And I came across, it's called the Frank method, which is basically where you gravity fill the pipe, and then you let it get to the top with no compression, and then you take a big old thick plug and you just use your thumbs to circle it round, just going around the bowl, compressing it in there. And that kind of worked for me. So what I tend to use now is a modified Frank method. Basically, whenever you pack in a pipe, what you want to do is towards the bottom of the ball, it needs to be light and airy and less compact. And towards the top of the ball, towards the rim of the ball, he wants to be thicker and more compact. So basically, what I end up doing now is I rub out a flake and I tease it apart a little till it's in like a loose. Imagine if you like tease out a cotton ball and it's kind of like loosely still together, and I gently fill that bowl without really packing it too much, and then I'll rub out some more and I make like a thick plug and press it in on itself, and then I'll squeeze that into the top without trying to compact the rest of the flake too much. And then if there's room, I'll put another one of those plugs in.
Yeah.
And for me, that seems to do it.
Yeah.
And that's something that I came to on my own, having looked at all the other different methods. And I think probably everyone packs slightly different. And you're gonna,
for sure.
Yeah. And you're going to find your own way by trial and error. And
you'll get there. Don't worry.
For sure.
Don't get hung up about it. You're going to get things wrong to start with.
Yeah.
Which is why it's good. Start with a cob.
Exactly.
Start with a cheap briar. And don't worry. Your experience will improve as you get along.
Yeah.
I mean that I think one of the guys, and that might be Mutton Chop as well, recommends for that last pack, because he's a sprinkler, so he's a sprinkle method, right? So and that's again, I kind of use a modified sprinkle method, but I like to have that tight plug at the top, so when I'll rub a little bit around with my fingers, get it on, and then the last pack that I'll do will be with the pad of my thumb. We've got quite sort of pudgy thumbs. Pudgy everything, definitely pudgy thumbs, and just place it on the top and just press in, so that I'm not actually pressing hard in to the bowl, so not pushing into the bowl, not pushing a hard bony finger. No, it's the pad at the top that just sort of lightly, sort of gently pushes that down, keeps that nice tight pack at the very top, but doesn't affect the pack at the bottom then.
Yeah.
And that seems to work okay most times. But man, rubbing.
Yeah.
Flakes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk. This is a recent revelation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It related to drying.
Totally. So I've, up until recently, been a dryer, and you've given me the heathen vibes, right? So, what are you doing, bro? What are you doing? You are ruining your tobacco. So this still is quite sort of contentious. You get loads of guys on. I think Mutton Chop's a dryer.
Yeah.
He definitely doesn't like the English blends because he says they were really wet.
Americans say that a lot about.
They don't get it at all.
They say, "Oh, it's so wet."
Yeah, it's too wet.
Like a pack of wet wipes.
Yeah. And they're kind of right to some extent. Not sort of. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. We're all about that. But there's a way. There's definitely a way of making your experience best. I think with wetter flake tobaccos, and especially for the Gowith Hogarth flakes. So up until then, I've been kind of ripping it to bits and kind of leaving it in sort of. It wasn't really ribbons. It was like chunks. And I was packing it and trying to burn it, and I got some Navy Flake, the Navy Flake's just it's hardcore. It's great smoke, but so short. There we go. It's based. It's English. It's got everything on it. It's so strong,
dude.
It's a real champs back.
I love it, man.
It's such a great smoke. But it requires a bit of work, and by that I mean up until that point I've just been ripping it and packing it. Trying to do the same with that as I do with ribbon cuts and with shag cuts. Can't do it. It just doesn't work. I was burning, drawing hard. It was really hot. It was really wet. I was having to swab all the time. It was not a good experience. So I was thinking I'll have a look on Mutton Chops, and he says, "Got to dry it, boys. Got to dry it." So I'm thinking, okay, well let's dry it out then. And it worked. It dried it out. It made it much easier to burn. But it affected it. It did affect the smoke. And it was only until I started, looking at the rubbing method, and the guys who were rubbers, they say, listen, this is part of your experience.
Right.
You starting to smoke your pipe the minute you get your backy out of your tin and you start rubbing, and they're so right.
Yeah. You
get all the flavours, you get the oils, you've got it on your hands, it goes near your mouth and your nose. It's great.
Yeah.
And it's part of the experience. And instead of having to wait for it to dry, I'm just rubbing it until it's not quite sort of ribbon cut, but it is. It's softer. It's not powdery, but like it's fluffy.
Yeah.
And you get that much neater, much nicer pack when you start rubbing. And I've stopped drying now.
Yeah.
And the flavour's all there.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. I the reason I got all the advice to dry it, and you're right. It makes lighting easier for sure. It burns much quicker.
Yeah.
and but it affects the flavour. You know,
shortcut.
Yeah. Especially something like Navy Flake or Bobby Flake. It's got those really nice rum and whiskey toppings, but which are fairly subtle. And if you're gonna dry them as well, dude, just say goodbye to that alcohol top.
It's gone.
I bought a bit of Redbreast plug, Samuel Garth's Redbreast plug, one of the Lakeland plugs, and I was having trouble smoking it. I was having trouble getting flavour, and I was going online to ask about it, and I think he was a Dutch guy who told me, are you drying it? And I said, yeah, I'm drying it. He's like, don't do that, man.
Yeah.
When you're drying that thing out, you're evaporating. The flavour is evaporating because the flavour is, containing the moisture to a large extent.
Yeah.
And what he said was just pack looser, dude. It's better to pack looser, have less leaf in the bowl, and have a more flavourful smoke.
Yeah, man, for sure.
I 100% agree.
Yeah.
And I tried it. And it worked, and I've never looked back.
Yeah, there's definitely like a triangle of pain somehow, between flavour, ease of smoke, and sort of packing rubbing. That triumvirate. That you get that right. You get the sweet spot just right, where you might want to dry it a little bit. Give it a little, like air it.
Maybe.
But not dry it. But don't let it dry. But just give it a little bit of air time. I'm only talking like a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
And if you're rubbing it, just rub it, and then naturally it will naturally dry itself.
Yeah.
The oils will go onto your fingers. It makes it easier to smoke. Makes it fluffier. Makes it easier to pack, which makes it a little bit drier and a little bit a bit cooler when you're smoking.
Yeah.
If you packed it right, it's just all about getting those three things right, and that's experience in it.
Exactly. Yeah. But I've kind of moved away from the drying for sure.
Yeah.
What I would say is something you might want to consider is pack the bowl and then leave it out for a while, and then the top can dry off, and maybe the top light's a bit easier. Another thing you can do is pack the bowl, char it, and come back to it later.
Yeah.
Because as if newcomers are listening, you want to char the leaf before you go straight into lighting it. It's called like the false light or the char.
Yeah.
You never light a pipe on the first go. You're just charring that leaf on the top. So what you can do is char it, tamp it back down, come back to it later. That little bit, the top's gone crisp and dry. That'll catch much easier now. But you still got the moisture and the flavour, and
you get a nice coal then, don't you? Nice flat,
Yeah.
even coal. You have much more control over it about how that burns. So the whole thing just burns flat then down instead of like a bit here and a bit there. You get hot spots in your bowl. It's much better if you do that char it off, crush your ashes at the top, tamp it down, not hard, but just enough to crush the ashes at the top, and relight, and you're away.
Bro, I think this moves naturally onto tamping. Right. I didn't know about this, but I was always just tamping directly down.
Shove it in.
Yeah, shove it down.
Ramrod it.
Yeah. Like a musket.
Like a musket, like a brown bess.
Yeah. Well, somebody told me, because I bought this pipe, the Savinelli 320, lovely like chunky apple author kind of thing. And I was like, look, I'm having trouble smoking it. It's coming in hot, and I'm not getting a lot of flavour. So I'm getting a lot of bite and not a lot of flavour. And this kind dude gave me a lot of advice, and he was like, one of the things you want to do is you want to tamp from the side into the centre. And that's why these check pipe tools are really good, because like the stem, I guess, is offset. It's not in the middle. So that makes it quite easy to press from the side into the centre, and to form like a kind of cone at the top. And I'm not sure why that works, but it makes it burn evenly and smoothly, and you get a lot more flavour that way.
I think maybe because it's cooler at the edge of the bowl, so you end up, it naturally seems to burn hotter in the middle.
Yeah.
See, mine's not. If I show mine, it's like a pipe knife.
Yeah.
So this is a slightly different design, but it does the same thing. But that, if you can see that there, that is absolutely plumb centre, right in the middle. So what do? Just get it on the edge first and just tilt it in. Edge first and tilt it in. Edge first and tilt it in. Go around your bowl. Away you go.
Yeah.
Don't just do what I did. Don't ram your musket ball down.
Yeah. Go from the outside in and compress, because that's kind of what you're doing when you pack in. You're creating that thick plug that presses together in on itself rather than down.
Yeah.
Because if you're pressing down the whole time, all you're going to end up with is that thick plug at the bottom that's just swamp your bowl.
Yeah.
You're going to tighten up the draw. You're going to get a lot of steam in your smoke that's going to dilute the flavour and burn your tongue and the roof of your mouth.
Nobody wants that.
Nobody wants that. Maybe we should talk about burn and bite.
Burn and bite, man.
Yeah.
You're going to get it.
You will get it.
We still get it.
Yeah.
You know, and we go back, you know, if I've had a couple of days on the Falcon and go back to a Briar, bro, I just treat that. I do not respect the Falcon at all. I just blast it.
Yeah.
And so what it means is when I come back to a Briar, I'm still in that mindset, and I don't think, oh, hang on, you know, slow your smoke down, slow your roll, son. No. And I end up with a bite. So you're gonna get it. So what do you do about it? Well, first of all, you can avoid it by keeping it slow, keeping it steady. You know, look, you're not there puffing away on fags. Listen, keep it.
Yeah.
Keep it steady.
It's a different thing.
Yeah. But you can have a nice drink. I mean, you don't necessarily want. I mean, you say alcohol, probably not, because that kind of tends to like lose your inhibition.
Yeah.
Kind of make you smoke harder. But you can have a nice drink or something.
Okay, everybody, welcome to take 2. So we just realised we've been speaking for half an hour without the camera rolling.
We're having such a good time. So this is now the second glass of port.
Yeah. So we realised that we had been talking about bite at the time that the camera stopped rolling. So we were saying how kind of bite and burn kind of get mixed up and used interchangeably. Well, they're kind of different things. So burn, when your mouth gets burned, that's the result of that's a temperature thing. Yeah. So there's you're either smoking too hot and too fast.
Yeah.
You've packed too tightly or too loosely, and that's creating a hot smoke that's like burning the tongue or the roof of your mouth. Bite is more of a chemical thing to do with the alkalinity of the smoke, and Virginias are one of those that are notorious for doing that. Straight Virginias.
And you're gonna get it.
Yeah.
We're all gonna get it. We've all gone through it.
For sure. Everybody's on it. We still get it from time to time.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a newcomer. It might be one of the things that you're contending with, and it might be the thing that kind of like steers you away from it. But yeah, we were saying how there are things to combat it. So
there's prevention and there's cure.
Prevention and cure.
Yeah,
exactly. So speaking about preventative, you want to take it slow.
Yeah.
Slow right down.
Slow your smoke down.
It's not like smoking cigarettes or even a cigar. You know, you really want to slow right down. And one of the guys on YouTube that I started watching kind of early in my career, and I think I mentioned him earlier, was Peddling Piper. And if you watch the way that guy smokes, he kind of lights up his pipe, and he's got his pipe in his mouth, he clenches it, and you just see him take a deep breath through his nose.
Yeah, the breathe method.
Yeah. You don't want to suck on the pipe like it's a straw, like you're sucking a milkshake. That's going to burn your mouth.
Yeah.
Clench it in there, breathe through the nose. That's going to pull in a little bit of smoke through the...
Seal it, good seal with your mouth.
Yeah. It's going to pull in a little bit of smoke, but not too much. And that's going to keep it nice and cool. What you don't... Because I think like... You see people smoking pipes on, like Sherlock Holmes, and they're going...
Yeah, bang.
Yeah, don't do that.
No. It's alright, if it's going a bit cold, you need to get it up and running again, that's okay. I tend to do that, rather than have to relight. But yeah, as a rule, you want to use the breathe method if you can.
Yeah, and just slow it right down. Drinks.
Yeah.
You want to drink... I always have a drink.
Cup of coffee.
Yeah. Even if it's a glass of water, but my favourite is coffee for sure, because the caffeine and nicotine just work so well together.
Oh man,
feels amazing.
God's combination.
Yeah, God's little combination, God's little cocktail. Tea and coffee. You were saying how your granddad always...
My granddad, so like my great granddad, he was a pipe smoker and he had a dairy farm, so like he'd get his pipe out, get his condor out, get it packed, get a bowl on, get a cup of tea. The milk was pretty much straight out of the cows in the morning, and I'd get a big old spoon of honey, get that in there as well. That's good. It helps coat your mouth.
Exactly.
The
fat content.
Fats. Yeah. That's really good. I mean, you know, and coffee the same. You know, you're a big coffee man.
For sure, and just the liquid cooling down the mouth also resets the palate slightly, so you get a bit better flavour. But yeah, that drink's going to cool down the mouth, coat it to some extent, and that's going to be another preventative measure.
Yeah. And look, there'll be. I mean, the things that can make it worse. I mean, like you're not a big fan of the hard stuff, the hard liquors. You know, when you're smoking.
Like we're saying, we poured some port out now. I think, you know, port is what, rough? It's like 18?
Yeah, 18 to 20, yeah.
I think if you're going over like, 20. I think if you're going over like that kind of limit, you're talking about like whiskies and stuff.
Yeah.
For one, for me, that kind of like nukes the palate.
Yeah.
So it kind of makes it hard to taste what you're smoking anyway.
They're good, don't get me wrong. That's great.
I love a whiskey and smoke.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, you get a little bit drunk, you get sloppy with your technique, you start puffing on it like it's a freight train.
Smashing on it,
Yeah. You will get by.
Yeah. And look, and you're going to get it. So what do you do when you get it? Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a couple of guys that are big fans of, and I am now a fully paid up member of the Secret Society of Aloe Vera mouthwash. Man, aloe vera mouthwash it's great. You know, I picked some up from an online retailer who shall remain nameless. The biggest one.
Yeah.
Others are available.
Run by a guy whose name sounds like Spanish for kisses.
yeah. Not a fan of Tolkien, but but I'm a big fan. I'm a huge fan of the aloe vera mouthwash. Like good oral hygiene anyway. You know, you're a big fan of the activated charcoal stuff, right?
Activated charcoal.
Yeah.
I've got a little mix. It's activated charcoal, bentonite clay. I think the thing about them is that it's negatively charged, so it attracts particles. Anything that's in your mouth, anything left over like tars, smoke particulates, seems to bind to them because, like, you know, pipe filters usually have activated charcoal in them, some of them. So I like to use that for sure.
But afterwards, you know, if you've got good oral hygiene, you get yourself some more aloe vera mouthwash. Man, that stuff's great. You know, it's non-alcoholic. You don't want any alcohol in there at all. You know, so you're going to make it worse. So this stuff's it's alcohol free. I've got some organic stuff. It wasn't a lot of money.
No.
Maybe £5 a bottle, but it's quite a big bottle. It's lasted me ages. I've had it a year. Doesn't go off or anything. Doesn't go out of date. And you know, you give that a good rinse in the morning. It'll be a bit tingly. It'll be a bit sharp. But once that dies down, man, you feel so much better.
Yeah, I remember one time you were telling me that you got onto that aloe wash, and I woke up one morning with some like bad bite, and I didn't have any of the aloe mouthwash in the house, but there's this aloe plant in the kitchen, dude, and I broke off a spine.
It tastes disgusting.
Yeah, man, it was the worst thing. It was absolutely disgusting, and it didn't even really work. So,
but I can recommend.
Oh yeah, for sure. The other thing is dairy. Dairy is great. Good,
full fat dairy.
Full fat dairy. Full fat dairy. Greek yogurt. Whole milk, raw if you can get it. Creams.
Yeah.
That'll do it. Drinking lots of water. And
but there's definitely a thing to say, you know, about, you know, coming back to that sort of that triangle of pain. You know, making sure you got good packing technique, you know, nice steady smoking technique, and not necessarily, you know, packing, not necessarily rubbing. If needs be, if it's a ribbon cut, you don't need to rub. But if it's a flake cut, man, get it rubbed out. And that, you know, keeping that smoke cool, keeping your flake good, you know, and rubbed, keeping your pack nice and loose, but not too loose that it's over hot. You know, it comes with experience.
For sure it does, and you'll find your own way. And
you'll get it wrong. I still get it wrong.
Yeah.
You know, I'm only a year in. I mean, I'm a baby with pipe smoking. These guys have been at it longer than I've been alive. You know, they're you know, those guys are masters. But look, don't let it put you off. You're gonna get it. There's ways about stopping it. There's ways about dealing with it when you've got it. But you were saying about maybe switching your blend as well, switching your leaf type. That maybe Burley's the way. Right,
yeah, that's a good point. I believe, and I don't have the evidence to back it up, again, my degree in chemistry, it's a little rusty, but Burley cures tongue bite.
Yeah.
And I'll put my name I'll put my name to that.
Yeah.
Burley cures tongue bite. I many times I'll wake up and I've got tongue bite. Burn, I should say. Usually I get burn rather than bite.
Same.
My tongue is burnt, but I want to smoke.
Yeah.
And I'm incorrigible, so I'll do it. And so I smoked some Burley.
Yeah.
Gareth Hogarth's Brown and Scented,
Oh.
or just lately the Peterson's Perfect Plug.
Wow.
And for some reason, Burley cures tongue bite. I don't know what it is, dude.
Switching your blend up as well, it's kind of good. Your palate can kind of get a bit. My palate can get a bit used to stuff. I like to.
Oh, it does.
Chop and change. Bro, is it worth maybe talking a bit about leaf? For guys who haven't, the difference between Virginia, Burleys.
Yeah, I think so for sure. Because when I started, I was looking at all these reviews and blend descriptions, and it's talking about the leaf varietals. And I'm still not an expert, but I know a little bit more what I'm talking about now. So I guess you got your Virginias, you got your Burleys, Cavendish, Perique, and then you got your Latakias and Orientals.
Yeah.
And I think at least, in this part of the world, they're the pipe tobaccos that you're going to come across most frequently. You get your specialist types like your Semois, like that Belgian.
Yeah.
That Belgian Burley that I'd really like to get my hands on. And, I think in like the Middle East and Japan, they have different kinds of pipe tobacco. But in this part of the world, I think they're the main ones that you're going to come across. So Virginia, it's hard to come across a blend that doesn't have Virginia in it. It tends to be the backbone, the base of almost all blends. You get them in brights and darkers. The brights tend to be more
citrusy.
Citrusy, lemony, grassy.
Yeah.
Whereas the darker ones tend to get a bit more stewed fruit, a little bit chocolatey, I guess.
Yeah.
Then you got your Burleys, which I'm mad on at the minute, and they tend to chuck a bit of Burley in with the Virginia.
Yeah.
It really cools Virginia down.
Yeah. It's
and,
rich.
And it's chocolatey.
Yeah.
And it's toasty and a little bit nutty. And if you puff on it real hard, like Burley will allow you to do.
Yeah.
God bless it.
It's forgiving.
Yeah, it's forgiving. It tastes a little bit ashy, but ashy in a nice kind of way. For me, at least, I enjoy it.
Yeah.
Then you got your Cavendish.
Yeah.
Which is generally the...
oh man, I love a Cavendish.
Yeah. Yeah, the backbone of more aromatic blends. Yeah. It's not a varietal in itself, but it's a processing method. I think it's steamed and it's fermented, double fermented usually. Yeah. And so it's really sweet, smooth, zero bite. And it carries flavours well.
And local. I mean, we've got the Cavendishes right on the doorstep. Chatsworth, the Duke of Devonshire.
Right.
Yeah.
And it carries flavours really well. Then you've got your Latakias and Orientals, which kind of go hand in hand. Orientals are quite sour. They show up in the, like the Balkans.
Yeah.
Then your Latakia, which comes from Latakia, Syria, although I think largely it's not really made there anymore. It's mostly made in Cyprus now. But it was made when these guys in Latakia, I think Americans say Latakia. I don't know if it's Latakia or Latakia.
Let's go with Latakia.
Yeah, I say Latakia. Yeah. They stored their leaf in the roofs of the smokehouse, I think. They were smoking meats in there.
Oh, man.
And maybe they forgot, maybe they didn't realise.
So good.
Yeah, but they took the leaves down and they smoked them, and it's infused with a really piney, resiny, kind of like herbal smoke.
Yeah.
So it's a really smoky blend. And it tastes real strong, although it's not super strong on the nick itself. But like I was saying earlier, it reminds me of the church incense.
Incense,
reminds me of church incense.
Yeah.
After I'd been smoking a pipe for a few weeks, smoking some Latakia, one day I went to church, and I think I was serving the altar at the time, putting the incense on the charcoal. And when it burned and it hit me, I was like, it reminds me of the Latakia.
Yeah, I want a pipe.
Right
now.
Yeah,
in the middle of the liturgy.
Yeah. So they're the varietals that you come across, and you might find that you pick a favorite. You might find that you rotate through all of them. I mean, we were discussing earlier, especially with the changing of the seasons.
Oh, for sure, man. It's a seasonal thing.
Yeah, for sure.
It feels wrong to be hitting up on like those nice summery, toasty Virginias and stuff. It gets to autumn. Like we're kind of in autumn now. Yeah,
we got one foot in autumn right now. This time of recording, and I'm craving those darker flavors.
Yeah.
Craving a bit of Perique. I might go for the Commonwealth mixture.
Yeah.
quite strong Latakia.
Good name.
Yeah. And I'm moving away from the brighter Virginias like Golden Glow.
Yeah.
I'm definitely moving away from Ennerdale.
Yeah.
Ennerdale is a summer smoke for me, and outside it just feels like
it's wrong.
Heretical.
Yeah, it's so wrong.
Yeah.
I'm
So
not bothered. It's fine. It's fine. I've got no qualms at all.
mate, let's talk about blends.
Yeah. I mean, wow. Favourites for me. I mean, I love a Cavendish, but I when I first started, I'd been you got me some squadron leader. That's a great. Yeah, I mean, I love a Lefroy. It's got a real Lefroy peaty sense. That's got some. That's a Virginia Burley mix. Most of the Gareth Hogarths tend to be sort of that Virginia Burley mix. There's a lot of Burley in there. But I can change it up, man. I mean, and I think it's good to change a blend up. I think for me at least it's good. I like to swap up. I mean, I've got some bourbon flake in the bowl here. Some of the Reunion flake. That's
great blend.
So good.
Great blend, man.
Like lovely alcohol hit on the top. Lovely top notes. But
so boozy.
It is. It really is. Yeah, like it's like Hemingway sat in the bar.
Yeah, man. Yeah. JD
smashing
Sinatra.
Away. So good. So good. Cigar on. So that's great. But I mean, I love a Navy flake, man. I mean, I've got a Navy flake on, and that's a great smoke. But I like to change it up. So it might be that I'll go through a phase where I'm all Cavendishes. Absolutely love a floral. Sweet. I've got such a sweet tooth, man. I'm such a sladka yushka for the Russians listening in. But I've got a real sweet tooth, so I love my my coffee caramels, and my black cherries. It's full of Cavendish. There's Burley in there, but it's it's a really sweet, tasty smoke. But I had a trip to Buxton, to Apple Yards, and man, that's a great little shop. Picked up some Coniston Cut. Man, it's got Virginia in there. There's Burley in there.
It's Burley, chocolate.
Yeah, man. But it's so floral. To say that's unscented.
Yeah,
man, it is so scented.
Yeah,
it's a huge Lakeland. That Lakeland flavour.
The unscented version has got like buckets of geranium in it.
I think that's an ironic title.
Yeah. It reminds me. Do you know what it reminds me of? Turkish Delight.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
reminds me of Turkish Delight.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. For me, favourite blends, like the first thing that I smoked, like I said earlier, was a Balkan blend. It was the Balkan mixture.
Yeah.
Lots of Latakia in there.
You weren't like that keen either on the Balkan way.
Well, the thing is, when I came back to, I tried the Balkan Flake.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. It wasn't doing it for me. I got some menthol in it.
Oh man, I love it.
Yeah. Well, you had the Gowith.
The
Samuel Gowith.
Sam Gowith, yeah.
Which maybe is a little bit different. Yeah. I don't know. But for me, Latakia was the first thing that I was smoking, and then I remember moving on to the rum flake, Jamaican flake. Absolutely delicious.
They're great.
Yeah, man. It was the first thing I ever smoked in a cob.
Yeah. Those reunions, man. All the reunions.
The reunions are great, dude. The brown house rolls, probably my least favourite, but still got that maple sweetness.
Yeah.
The bourbon flake, absolutely delicious. The Perique flake.
Yeah.
Mate, I love it. Yeah, I always smoke the Perique flake in my Bing's favourite.
Oh.
Yeah. One of my favourite pipes.
So good. Look at the chimney.
I love that thing.
Yeah.
But bro, the thing, like my tastes tend to change, but you were saying how you like to change it up. The thing about you is, and I'm not sure if this is something that we caught earlier on the camera, but you behaved like a human being and you didn't go stupid with the pipes. I went stupid with the pipes. I brought our pipes. I also went stupid with the tobacco. So if you open my tobacco cabinet, there's a lot of blends in there.
It's like a wardrobe.
Yeah.
It's a walk-in.
Yeah. And sometimes I open it up and I think, what am I going to smoke?
Yeah.
And it's like a paralysis by analysis thing. Too much choice.
Yeah.
And I started saying to myself, Harry, you've got to smoke your stash. You have to start smoking your stash. Yeah. So I started doing that. And in the end, I narrowed it down to some blends. I'm really mad on Burley at the minute.
Yeah.
And I have been for a while. I love the Gareth Hogarth's brown flake unscented.
Yeah.
I'm really liking the 3Ps at the minute.
Yeah.
But every now and then I like a Latakia.
Yeah.
And I'll go for a Commonwealth.
Yeah.
50% Virginia, 50% Latakia. Nice and strong. Every now and then I want a Perique. I'll go for that Cabby's mixture.
Yeah.
That 27 Lowther Street.
Yeah.
Every now and then I want an aromatic. So
Yeah.
I'll go for that bourbon flake.
Yeah.
Go for that rum flake maybe.
I mean, in terms of, because you're on the 3P at the moment, aren't you?
Yeah.
The Peterson. Worth maybe sort of talking a little bit about the plug?
Right, yeah. Because we were talking about the ritual aspects of pipe smoking. So what we were saying is
that's a huge part of
it's a huge aspect of it.
It's the difference. I liken it to like the difference between
sticking
on an MP3 or watching some music on YouTube or listening to some music on YouTube and putting a vinyl on. Like you have to take it out of the sleeve. You have to clean it. You put it on your turntable. You lift your needle on. And you're there for you listen to the album. Do you know what I mean? Like you sat there for an hour or so listening to music, and it's kind of it's tactile. It's not just kind of an instant hit. You've got to work at it.
Yeah, and I was saying it was a lot like we went camping recently. We've been talking about it for ages, and we finally did it. It's a
wild camping, by the way.
Wild camp, yes, only. Come get me.
Yeah.
And it's the difference between putting the kettle on to make a cup of tea or make a cup of coffee and collecting the firewood, building the fire, lighting the tinder, getting it kindled, boiling the water on the little kettle and getting the coffee going.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, what I was saying is that if you know about the rope tobacco, so certain tobaccos are like rope spun into these long twists and ropes.
Into balls, make balls out of them, don't they? I've seen those.
Yeah, they like coil them up. Yeah. You can buy them like that, or you can buy the sliced version. Sometimes you can buy the flake, or you can buy the ready rubbed version. Sometimes you can buy the plug of the flake. Yeah. So the plug is, when they make tobacco, generally what they do is they'll press it into these plugs.
And this is an ancient method, isn't it? It's like it's an old school method. It was like the Navy guys, all the
absolutely,
sailors.
They would case it in sugars or molasses or whatever, and they'll press it into this brick. And you have to prepare that yourself. You can use a cigar cutter. Some people use a cigar cutter to shave off the edges. I don't like that way so much. I like to use a knife. And Opinel, I think, is great. They keep a great edge, great knife. And they'll slice it up nice and fine, and then you rub it out. And
which way do you slice it?
Yeah, that's a good point. So you'll see that it's pressed with these different layers, right? So you can see the different, like the flecks of yellow in there and the different layers. So there's Virginia and Burley in there. So what they'll do is they'll press layers of Virginia and Burley. So what you want to do is you want to slice downwards so that you're getting those.
You want all of those, don't you?
Yeah, you want to cross section that flake. You wouldn't want to cut through it that way, because then you would be missing out. And what that does really for me is all adds to the ritual of the pipe.
Yeah.
I strongly believe, dude, that ritual is unavoidable.
We need it. We respond to it.
We crave it.
We respect it. Subconsciously.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's all part of the ritual. It's all part of the enjoyment.
Yeah.
Preparing the flake, preparing the plug, preparing the twist.
And there's definitely, I'm kind of moving on to it a little bit now, maybe, that there's definitely a psychological aspect to it.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. Dude, and it's something I wanted to talk about. So, dude, if we're talking metaphysics.
Oh, yeah.
Bourbon or scotch?
Oh, surprise me. Yeah.
So I've been thinking about this, dude.
That's Highland Park 10.
Yeah.
Give them a look.
Viking Scars.
Yeah. The Vikings were fine once they converted.
Yeah.
We did beat them in the end.
Cross beats the hammer, guys.
Cross beats the hammer.
So.
Good elf.
Yeah. So
God save the king.
God save the king. Praise God.
Lovely.
And so, what I was thinking about, dude, is that I was thinking about the garden.
Yeah.
I was thinking about the symbolism of the garden. And I think it was, I think I read this in Maciej Eliade. He was saying that, like the garden is a symbol of perfect union, and union between heaven and earth. Because you have this wilderness. You know the plants, and the fauna that live among them.
Yeah.
But you, as the gardener, you have applied order to it. So you've got this walled garden.
The vine dresser.
Right, exactly. So what you've done is you've taken nature and you've allowed it to grow under the order of your walled area. You know, you've tended the vine, you've trimmed the grass, you've pruned the bushes.
Yeah. Civilizing of the wild.
Right, exactly. Now, when I look at the pipe, dude, we're controlling a flame. And controlling flame, dude, is ordering chaos.
Yeah.
We've got this walled garden
with
the ball. Okay, we've got the leaf in there.
Yeah.
We've got the wilderness. We're taking a flame to it.
Yeah.
Chaos.
Yeah.
But what are we doing? We're ordering it. Okay, we're controlling that flame.
Yeah.
We're making it work for us.
Yeah.
Uniting that heaven and earth.
So what comes out
Exactly.
is exactly what we want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, and one of the things, like I mentioned at the start, that what really turned me on to the pipe is that I was reading Lord of the Rings at the time, and it kind of got me onto it. But roughly at the same time, I was listening to a Jonathan Pageau Q&A, and someone asked him about pipe smoking, and they were saying, what is the symbolism of pipe smoking? And he said he wasn't really sure, but he thought it was related to incense.
Yeah.
Right.
Coming back to the incense in the church.
Right, for sure, dude. So it might, I don't know, maybe you think it's a stretch, but for me, it reminds me of this sort of like union of opposites.
Yeah.
Right. Which is like symbolized in the garden, the wilderness and the order, chaos and order.
Yeah.
The other thing I think for me is that it represents kind of like when you smoke in the pipe, it represents a kind of Aristotelian golden mean kind of thing, because you're trying to apply the least effort to get the most satisfaction.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you puff away at this thing,
but not in a utilitarian way.
Right.
You know, there's more to it than that. It's not just about we're going to make this burn and we're going to make some smoke come out of it. No, it's the process and the ritual and the effort and the labour. You know, that it's its own reward in a way.
Yeah.
Not like the delayed
gratification. For sure. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And
otherwise, you could just go and buy a packet of cigarettes and smoke away. You know?
Exactly. Yeah.
This isn't that.
You can trim everything down to its utility for sure, but that's not what this is. We're going the long way around, right?
Yeah.
But we're getting more enjoyment for it.
Yeah.
And it's about applying the least that you can to get the most out of it. Like, you'll find that when you're burning that leaf, the best smoke is when you keep that ember barely alive.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You want to keep it barely alive for that cooler smoke and that better flavour. And you're looking for that golden mean.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Totally. And there's, I mean, for me, you know, for a blunt, full-blooded Yorkshireman, you know, I look at, I look at the guys who are, you know, puffing away on the pipe. I've got old Arrow Wilson and, you know, all the old guys, and there's definitely an aesthetic to it. You know, the guys are, you know, you look at the old academics. I look at Tolkien.
Yeah.
You know, you look at these guys who are all sort of smashing away on the pipes. There's a reason for that, and it makes sense. You know, I haven't got the words and the vocabulary. Now I'm a pleb, but you know, I respond to it. You know, I respond to that ritual, and I respond to that aesthetic and that to that practice. It's an ascesis.
Kind of, in a way, dude. Dude, I remember the first time I was smoking a pipe. It felt like the first time in a long time that I was happy to simply do one thing and nothing else.
Oh, definitely.
Do you know what I mean?
There's definitely a meditative aspect.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got some little ones at home. You've got 2 little ones, you know, and you know, they're running around, they're screaming. I think, I'm outside. I've got a pot of coffee on. I'm in the garden. I've got my pipe on, and I can hear his birds. I'm thinking about the breathing. I've got my breathing method. I'm making sure that I'm not going too fast, too slow. I'm packing. I'm tamping. But just as we do when we're camping, you know, we're shaving wood and we're cutting our wood up. There's definitely a process, and in that process, you just kind of lose yourself a little bit.
Absolutely, dude. Yeah, and it's not,
and it's intuitive.
Yeah,
you've got to think about it.
Yeah,
you know, it becomes intuitive.
Yeah, and I will say that I do like to read when I'm smoking a pipe. Like lately, I've been reading some Cormac McCarthy, reading a little Philip K. Dick, and keeping the Bible in the garage, dude. So that when I go in there, pick up the Bible.
I'm on the Gospel of John, and man, that's great,
dude. It's my favorite gospel.
Yeah. Signs, Gospel of Signs.
Yeah. Or listen to music, dude.
Yeah.
But I think there's definitely I mean, nicotine is a nootropic, right? There is a physical response to nicotine, bro. Like you mentioned writers, Tolkien.
Yeah.
Bro, you know, if you look back at any kind of like writer, thinker from, you know, like a few decades ago, just Google the name, images, they're smoking a pipe.
On.
They're smoking a pipe.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm not a huge Stephen King fan. I like some of his work.
His books are fine.
Yeah.
I'll leave it there.
Yeah, we'll leave it there. But apparently, once he gave up smoking, he found it was so hard to write.
Yeah.
I think there's an aspect where there's a subtle aspect to nicotine where it's kind of like slows your thought process down a little bit. And because of the nature of pipe smoking, it's not a cigarette. You're not walking around puffing away. You probably sat down.
Yeah.
At most, you're taking a light stroll. You have to slow down. You have to take some time.
Yeah.
And that's when, if you think about like like if you think about a jug of water that's got sand in it.
Yeah.
That's when the things get still, the sand settles down.
Yeah.
And what's inside comes to the surface.
Yeah, totally.
And you start to think, dude.
Yeah.
You start to think. And so it's not surprising why for writers, it was a thing that they did.
Yeah, for sure. And I think there's nothing. I mean, we're both Orthodox.
Yeah.
It's an experiential, ascetic faith, and ascetic's kind of been wrapped up in this thing about, it's been like austere and hard and harsh. And there's kind of maybe some aspect to that, when you look at the monastics and they're all sort of in the caves and the skeets and they've got a harsh lifestyle. But even for us out in the world, it's about us practicing. It's about the practice. That's really what it means in the literal sense. It's
training.
Practice, yeah. And just pick a cigarette out of the packet, smoke it. It's full of accelerants. It'll do its thing. You stub it out and away you go. You're done. You're done in 2 minutes, 3 minutes. With a pipe, no. You've got to work. There's a practice to it. Rub your backy out. Pack it nicely, tamp it, crush your ashes, keep it going, keep it at that perfect level so it's not too hot, not too cool, and then you're kind of focused entirely on the activity of smoking your pipe. Me of 12 months ago, that would have just completely blown my mind. I wouldn't have understood it because it's an experience. It's an experience thing.
Absolutely, dude. And to that point, I would say that if you are smoking a pipe, like earlier I said that it's a luxury activity.
Yeah.
There's no point to smoking a pipe except for the enjoyment that you get from doing that. I would say if you're gonna smoke a pipe, set aside some time for it.
Morning.
Generally the morning.
Yeah.
Maybe at the evening. Maybe the last thing.
Yeah.
What you don't want to do is smoke a pipe when you got stuff to do, or you got issues pressing.
Yeah.
I find that there's generally no point in it.
Yeah.
Like a pipe smoked in a rush is not.
It's wrong.
It's wrong, dude. Yeah, it's not a rush thing. So, and the thing is, if you learn to put it down at the right times, it's all the sweeter when you get back to it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. That's the difference. Like with a cigar, and again, coming back, I love a cigar. When I got those big Cohibas, the big full Coronas.
Yeah, dude.
You're probably a good hour and a half, 2 hours smoking that.
Mate, 2 hours, yeah.
But you can't really kind of put it down and come back.
No.
That's the beauty about the pipe. You can put it down.
Right, for sure.
You can go and do something. You can come back. It's still good to smoke.
Often better, I find.
Better, yeah.
Often better when you come back to it, yeah.
You know, and again, the difference is that this is a companion. You know, this isn't a thing of itself. You know, this is a means, this is a vehicle of doing that. It will change. It will adapt to the way that you smoke. It will coke to the way that you smoke. It will, you know, the grain in the wood will change. The shape will change. The way that you smoke it. This becomes an appendage almost.
Right, exactly, dude. Yeah, it, like you said the other day, that really stuck with me. It's like an old friend.
Yeah, for sure.
And it requires some upkeep.
It does.
You know, they're not a disposable item. They're not a throwaway item.
Maybe that's a good point to discuss. You know, what do we do about keeping up a pipe?
Good point. Let's move away from the metaphysics. So, I find that you don't have to get too neurotic about your pipe. I think in the modern day, I mean, I'm talking about myself mostly. I get neurotic about my pipes. I get very precious over my briars. But really, dude, as long as you are using a soft flame, i.e. matches, a Zippo, a clicky lighter, not a torch lighter.
Yeah.
Don't be using a hard flame.
Yeah.
As long as you are at the end of the smoke, you're running a pipe cleaner through them, you're getting that moisture out there, you're making sure that, particularly the shank or the mortise, if you're French, I think mortise, maybe, yeah. You're making sure that's not swamped up, you're making sure it doesn't cake up.
Yeah. You're
probably golden, man.
Yeah.
People say that pipes get sour. Now, I've only been smoking a pipe a year. I haven't come across this yet, but people say that pipes can get sour, so that when you smoke them, there's this like disgusting kind of like ashtray kind of taste.
Yeah, but I mean, I know you've got quite a few. You've got a lot of sabs up there. But,
yeah.
But you've got enough that you can rotate. You know, rotate it. It's fine.
Exactly.
You know, I've only got four. I've got four briars. I've got three briars, and I've got the Falcon and the Cob. It's enough.
Yeah.
You know, I can go through the whole week and rotate each one. It's fine.
Yeah. But I would say, you know, get a few pipes. Treat yourself. Yeah. Get 3 or 4 pipes, right? And then you can rotate them. But don't get hung up on the rotation, okay? You know, like Granddaddy, he had a pipe. He was smoking that thing morning till night.
I better believe he didn't clean it.
Yeah. I mean, he probably ran a pipe cleaner through it, but he wasn't bothered about. And you know what? When it got sour, when it burnt out, probably bought another one. Dude.
Yeah.
He wasn't neurotic about it. Dude, I remember when you first came around with that pipe, actually, and you were smoking one bowl after the other. And you were smoking different blends, and in my head I was like going, tell him not to smoke it straight away, tell him not to mix blends. And I thought, you know what, no,
such a heathen.
Yeah, he's enjoying his pipe. He's not neurotic about it.
Yeah.
And that's what I really respected about you particularly.
I mean, there's a thing with caking, you know, and that's maybe my neurosis, and I like thinking, is it big enough? Is it smooth? Have I got too much cake in there? Have I got not enough? Is it caking quick enough? And eventually, you know, I was watching the guy, Mutton Chop Piper, and he's quite a laid back guy.
Yeah, great
really
watch,
guy. Good watch, good channel. And he said, look, you know, if it's right for you, then it's right. You know, this is your smoking part. This is your smoking implement. This is your thing. This is your companion. You know, so if you're not smoking it right to the bottom, and it's not caking to the bottom, I know that that's like a big thing with guys that they'll only smoke half a bowl until it cakes to the bottom.
Yeah,
he was a big proponent of don't worry about it.
Yeah, I never did that.
It'll come, and yeah, you know, once it starts getting too much, you know, if it's more than like a fingernail thickness, you know, 1 millimeter, you know, you can get your knife blade on your pipe tool. You've got one on yours, a reamer. Mine's kind of got little serrations on there. You know, you just run that through, get it, and you'll feel it. You'll tell in the way that it smokes, and that's the thing. Each of those pipes smokes differently. I know how each of those, you know, that Savinelli that I've got, the little tandem, it's a great pipe, lovely little pipe. Small bowl, I can, you know, it's maybe half the size of my Blakemore.
Yeah.
But it gets hot, and I know that, you know, that it forces me, it forces me to just smoke it steady. I know what its limitations are.
Very nice pipe, that.
It's lovely, you know, little bowl. It's conical as well inside, so it's only really half the volume of a big beast like that.
That's a big old boy.
Yeah, it's a big lad. It's the Blake Marks made in Northamptonshire, and you know that's a much bigger pipe. Those two are completely different. The feel is different. The practice is different. The experience is different. Same with the Peterson. You know, the little bowl. It's probably somewhere in between those two, and each one of those has got their own like personality. It feels like
they do for sure. I mean, I find particularly like for me, I make a dichotomy between. There's different kind of pipe shapes, and I think it's mostly aesthetic. But I do make a dichotomy between like, you know, you take like a Prince, shorter and squatter, versus a, let's say like more of an apple or a billiard, which
that's
is
a great
taller.
pipe.
That's a lovely pipe. That's the
pipe.
Clark's favourite,
Yeah.
which is taller and a little bit narrower. I find I have a hard time. I love the look of a Prince.
Yeah.
I love the look of an author.
Yeah.
But I find I have a hard time smoking them. They've got a personality of their own.
Yeah.
Maybe I haven't figured out properly how to smoke them yet.
Yeah.
But it's a journey, bro.
It's a journey, it's an experience, and it's your experience.
Exactly.
It's your journey, and everyone will be different.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bro.
Does that feel like a good place to end
It
it?
feels like a good place to end.
Man, I had a great time.
Likewise.
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Good health, dude.
Thanks, bro. Good health.
Keep enjoying your smokes.